Star Wars: The Last Jedi is written and directed by Rian Johnson and tells the story of the First Order chasing after the Resistance and Rey getting training from Luke Skywalker, all while Kylo Ren is still hot on their trails and is still conflicted about which side he is truly on. Now I remember first watching this movie in theaters and I thought it was really good. I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed the experience at the moment. Then over time, years went along, the more I thought about it, this movie is a mixed bag. This is not the best Star Wars film by a long shot. There are a lot of writing problems, a lot of character choices and plot lines that I don't really like. But I think this movie is also a bit overhated because there are still some really good elements in this movie. It's just that a lot of it is overshadowed by the bad elements, depending on if you think those bad elements are too bad for you to ignore. For me, the positives slightly outweigh the bad, but I would be lying if I say that I didn't understand why people didn't like this film, because I do understand. There's a ton of problems with this, but let's go over the good first. And this review is going to be quick, so yeah, here we go. The visual effects are great. Some of the best in the entire franchise. This movie is absolutely gorgeous to look at. The cinematography is beautiful, it's clean, the action sequences are helmed great, and Rian Johnson be able to give a good sense of scope with these TIE fighter sequences in space and in that salt planet. It is absolutely beautiful stuff to witness. The storyline between Luke Skywalker and Rey is really good. I love their student and master relationship that they have, and how Luke is basically a tormented man who has been haunted by his past mistakes. And Rey is trying to do what she can to help him through that, looking past his mistakes and try to become the Jedi that everyone wants him and needs him to be. And Luke Skywalker is trying to fight his own demons in that case because of something horrible he has done in his past. And while this is a bit of a regression for his character, and even when I first saw it, I was like, this doesn't feel like a choice Luke would make. And then I realized this is still a flawed person like he was in the original trilogy, who was also a flawed character. And while he has definitely grown since then, those past mistakes still haunt him, you could tell. And Mark Hamill gives a really powerful performance in this scenario, and is probably my favorite performance of his as Luke Skywalker. But once we reach the end of the film and his character arc comes to completion, I actually felt satisfied. I actually felt like I finally got to the Luke Skywalker I wanted in terms of the type of choices he will make in this scenario and what his beliefs are. The little callbacks to A New Hope, the original Star Wars, is great. I really like his fight between Kylo Ren. I thought that was excellent in the way it was handled. This was overall what I wanted from Luke Skywalker, and what I also didn't know that I wanted. And the character of Kylo Ren here is once again still compelling. I like his character arc about how he's trying to overcome his mistakes from the previous film, trying to prove himself, while also being against the First Order in terms of its rules and ways it's been doing things. He wants to have the First Order go his own evil ways, and that conflict between him and Rey in this scenario, when they eventually have to team up for a little bit, I thought made for a nice little conflict that I wish would have been explored even further in the next film. And there's a lot of neat ideas about the importance of any type of hope and good coming from anywhere across the universe, and it's not just determined by your bloodline. I think Rian Johnson was able to give that type of message, the type of reverence that it needs, despite it not always being executed all that well. That ties in very well to Rey's character development here. She is not a Mary Sue character like she was in the previous film. She's not immediately good or fine at something off the bat. She makes quite a bit of mistakes here and is overconfident of her own abilities at times, even against the antagonists Snoke and Kylo Ren, which I forgot to mention Snoke in the Force Awakens review, but he was just a glorified cameo there and like a bootleg Darth Sidious. Here, kind of the same thing, but Andy Serkis still does a good job in the motion capture performance, and the action sequence after his death I thought was really cool. But in terms of story and plot development, it's not much to write home about. And that's the problem with this film, the writing. It is all over the place and doesn't know what it wants to talk about. The plot between Poe and this admiral that is not telling him anything about her plan to escape the First Order, I thought was very stupid. Like, one little conversation or maybe even a light lie about the situation would have been enough to maybe fix things, but she decides to berate him, not tell him anything. Yeah, he was a hotshot and was a bit out of line before, but a whole mutiny was caused because of her own actions not to tell everyone what the plan was and not telling the truth of what's going on and keeping her resistance friends in the know of everything. Like, it shouldn't have resorted to a mutiny. It was absolutely stupid this whole plot line was played out, and the fact that she was given a heroic sacrifice, while I understand how we got to that point, her character was just so unlikable that when we are supposed to like her, it's all too late and then she just dies. It was terribly rushed character development, and the performance Laura Dern gives here, I mean, she made me hate her, but I thought she was kind of miscast and a bit out of place, especially with that pink wig. My goodness, that looked really weird on Laura Dern. I didn't like the costume design or makeup hairstyling with her character. Just everything about her character just annoyed me, but not as much as Rose Tico. I don't hate the actress Kelly Marie Tran. I think she does a fine enough job in the role, but her character I found really annoying, especially considering the fact that her whole plotline with Finn to go to this Cantino planet is absolutely stupid. I did not like this whole plotline where they have to go to this Cantino planet, find this guy who's able to do something for them to help the resistance, but actually betrays them. The whole point of the sequence was just to free some animals, and that is it. It's basically an animal activist type of plotline that doesn't affect the story a whole lot. And the choice for her to try and save Finn at the end of the film, sacrificing himself to the First Order, really terrible writing, because her whole thing about saving what we love and not fighting what we hate, like, she says it like they cannot exist together, when that's what he was trying to do. He's trying to save what he loves by fighting what he hates. It's like, you know that if they succeed with this weapon, everyone's gonna die. She ruined the whole point of saving everyone and probably gonna get even more people killed. That just made me dislike her character a whole lot more. Like, seriously, this character was so annoying. Their whole plot line together was really bad. Everything involving Luke, Kylo Ren, Rey was a lot more interesting, but the movie spends so much time on these other plot lines that are really poorly planned out and poorly written that I find it hard to call this movie great. There's a lot of good ideas, a lot of good elements, the filmmaking is good, but the execution I found downright terrible and just left this movie a mixed bag for me. Overall, I would say that this is an alright film. The filmmaking is enough for me to enjoy it, but I can definitely understand why a lot of people are divided on this one, because I myself am divided on this film, and it's no wonder why The Rise of Skywalker felt like it needed to backtrack on some things here. I felt like the best case scenario for the next film would have been to actually explore more of these themes even further, because despite the execution not being that good here, Rian Johnson at least tried to do something different and unique for the Star Wars franchise. Even if it didn't work, I actually do respect Rian Johnson for trying to do something different. It did not always work, but I knew that he was doing it with passion. He had a creative idea, and I admire that. And I cannot say the same thing about the next film, which felt like a complete bastardization of anything that came before this movie, including The Last Jedi, the prequels, the original trilogy. Like, my goodness, I have a lot to say about the next one. Jesus Christ. This movie was alright. It did not always work, but what it does well, it does really well. I'm going to give The Last Jedi a B-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.